As the nights draw in and temperatures plummet, it's easy to forget that our four-legged friends might be feeling the chill even more than we do. Despite their furry coats, dogs are surprisingly vulnerable to the cold, and when that nip in the air turns to a shiver, it could mean trouble. Dogs can't always show us when they're uncomfortable, or worse, at risk of getting sick. So don't wait until your dog is shaking uncontrollably, or worse, on the verge of catching a cold. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect them from dangerous temperature drops, spot the early signs of a chilly pup that most owners miss, and finally, how to turn that pupsicle back into a hot dog. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our canine loving community for more tips and tricks to help you pamper your pooch? How cold is too cold? In general, you can assume that anything below 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius is too cold for your pup. To a certain extent, however, this does depend on their breed. Just like how a person wearing a thick jacket will be able to cope with cooler temperatures than someone wearing just a t-shirt, so a dog with a thick coat will cope better in the cold than a short-haired or hairless breed. Just like your mom always said, the secret to staying warm in the winter is wearing layers. Cold weather breeds like Huskies, Siberians, and Malamutes have short and long hairs in their fur, meaning that their coat has a short-haired layer and a long-haired layer. The long-haired layer protects against water and snow, preventing it from getting too close to your pup's skin. The short-haired coat, meanwhile, is usually thicker and designed to insulate your pup against the cold air. Some breeds have particularly oily undercoats for extra insulation. It also depends on the size of the dog, which can obviously be heavily affected by breed. Smaller dogs have a smaller volume compared to their surface area than larger dogs, and so lose heat faster. You might be surprised to learn that the color of your dog can also have an impact on how well they cope with heat. As you might remember from high school science class, the color that something is depends on what kinds of light bounce off it and into our eyes. So, for example, red things bounce back, or reflect red light, while absorbing all other kinds, and so our eyes perceive them as red. White things and black things are the two exceptions to this rule. White things reflect back all light, which our brains process as white. If they didn't, we'd probably not be able to see anything through the haze of colors, but we'd also have rainbow polar bears. You win some, you lose some. Black objects, meanwhile, absorb all light and don't reflect any back into our eyeballs. Our eyes can't see any color when looking at them, and that absence of color is what we call black. Absorbing light, however, means that these objects are also absorbing heat, so if you have a black dog, then they're likely to do slightly better in cold weather. The 5 signs of a chilly dog. Number 1. Your pup might look cute, curled up in a ball, but there might be a practical reason for them choosing to sleep in that position. Curling up in a ball means that your dog's ears, paw pads, face, and belly, the parts of them that are most vulnerable to cold, are somewhat protected from the cool air. Number 2. Speaking of ears and paw pads, these parts of your dog can act as a kind of canine thermometer. They cool down much faster than the other parts of your pup's body, so if they feel cold to the touch, then you can assume that the rest of your dog will feeling chilly pretty soon. You might also notice your dog shuffling their paws on the ground when there's a nip in the air. That's a sign that they're finding the ground too cold and might have to go back indoors. Number 3. Does your dog seem extra cuddly all of a sudden? That's not just because they're trying to get in your good books before Christmas. Snuggling up with you is one great way for your pup to stay warm on those long winter nights. Huddling together allows the two of you to share body heat. This means that not only is your pup warming themselves, but they're also trying to warm you up. Number 4. Sometimes dogs and humans aren't so different. One of the major signs that a dog is getting cold is exactly the same as it would be for a cold human. Shivering. Shivering is an instinct that is common in warm-blooded animals. When your body gets too cold, your muscles start flexing involuntarily in an attempt to try and warm you up again. If you spot your pup doing this, it means that they're in dire need of a warm blanket or a rest by the fire. Number 5. Does your dog seem reluctant to go out on their daily walk? No doubt your pup normally gets more excited about walkies than you would about a winning lottery ticket. But in cold weather, they might be less keen to go outside. Instead, you'll find them napping in warm spots around the house. This isn't just about wanting to stay cozy, by the way, although that's certainly part of it. Your dog's body will also expend more energy in cold weather as it tries to keep your fur baby warm. This will likely lead to them sleeping more. How to make a hot dog. So how do you help your pooch get warm again? Here are 5 tips to help keep your fur baby from freezing. Number 1. Sometimes a fur coat isn't enough. Sometimes your pup needs a little help. If your dog will let you put it on them, then a warm coat can help keep them nice and cozy on those cold winter walks. Just make sure that you pick the right one. Fashionable coats for dogs, the ones that make them look like little superheroes or dapper gentlemen, might look cute, but they're often not very insulating. A less fashionable coat that is designed to be worn in the cold weather will be much more helpful for your dog. Number 2. Speaking of adorable canine outfits, footwear. Yes, that's right, your dog can wear shoes. Not high heels, unfortunately, as equal parts hilarious and adorable as that would be, or anything a human would wear, but you can buy them little booties to wear on their paws. Like we mentioned before, dogs lose a lot of heat through their paws. Imagine if you had to go on long walks barefoot in the winter. Putting them in booties can help keep those little toe beans toasty warm. Number 3. Sometimes it's just too cold to take your dog out for a walk. Obviously, ideally, they'd go out every day, but dragging them out in a blizzard or a thunderstorm is going to do more harm to their health than good. And it won't be all that great for you either. So, what can you do to keep your dog fit and healthy when you can't leave the house? Easy. Play games. Not only does this keep your pup's blood pumping, but active play will also help warm them up. In fact, if you choose a form of play that involves both of you being active, such as tug of war, wrestling, or chase, then you might find that you warm up as well. Number 4. Exercise is important, but sometimes all you want to do on a cold day is snuggle down in bed and not move until May. You might be a human physically, but mentally, sometimes you may feel more like a bear or a hedgehog. Time for hibernation. Your dog likely feels the same. Just like you, it's important that they have warm bedding to snooze in. If they already have a dog bed, then you can help make it warmer by adding more blankets, or even a heated toy or cushion if you want to really treat your pup. If your dog is more of a snuggle bug, however, then letting them into your own bed might be the answer. Not only will they be able to share your body heat, but your bed is likely higher off the ground than theirs, which will keep them from being exposed to drafts, and probably has a thicker duvet. Number 5. The extra energy it takes for your dog to stay warm won't just make them sleepier, it'll also make them hungry. You may have experienced this yourself. On cold winter days, you might find yourself craving snacks more than on hot summer days. When the weather gets chilly, try switching up your dog's dinner to include more protein and fat. This will give them extra fuel to help them stay warm. You can also try adding a bit of warm water to their water bowl to heat it up a bit. Make sure it's not too hot, however. Once you've got your dog all nice and toasty warm again, the two of you will need something to entertain you while you wait out the storm. Shame you can't just make conversation. Or can you? Check out this video to find out how you can actually start talking with your dog.